Listen close, kid. If you see Haarken Worldclaimer, run and pray he kills your comrades first. You're not outrunning him. I only saw that monster in flashes. A shadow dropping into melee, the aftermath of broken bodies and mangled corpses left behind. That was enough for me. The dread you feel when a thing is near. I've seen it stop people's hearts. Haarken, the champion of the apocalypse, is a force to reckon with. He's known for being fast, aggressive and maybe not having the best defenses. With the new Crusade mode, he has gained his own relic, the Helspear. This gave me an opportunity to look at the character again, and as I have never reviewed him, here we go. Haarken is a necessary character in the Fall of Cadia campaign. While he's an epic character and seems hard to get at first, he's actually quite easy to secure. For the first 10 mission level up chests you will get 25 shards each of him, and you will get him in 2 to 3 weeks after beginning to play, often being your first epic character if you don't get lucky. He might be the most overlooked of the 3 mandatory characters in this campaign, but his speed makes him interesting from the get-go. As a raptor champion, he comes with the usual jump pack, and attacks with his lightning claw, called the Herald's Talon. Even before getting his spear as a relic option, Haarken used it in his active, and the trophy rack, demonically looking armor and fearsome mask make him a fighter that can not only strike where he wants, but also strikes fear into his enemies' hearts. Let's start with Haarken's speed. Move 4 is fast, and the flying trait lets you choose his opponents flexibly. As you'd suspect, he can equip a crit upgrade and booster as well as a block upgrade, marking him out as an offensive character. He is still a renegade space marine, unsurprisingly granting him above average health, in line with Godswill or Karian. Armor-wise he is slightly below average, the same as Abraxas or Asgore. He also shares both defenses with Mephiston, who he also shares the terrifying trait with, granting him a 30% damage reduction for incoming melee attacks. While definitely not made out of paper, he won't survive focused fire. You need to be smart when choosing his targets to not waste his potential, because the terror he inflicts builds over the battle through his passive, Headclaimer, which increases his damage, bit by bit for every enemy defeated, which has no cap and can get quite crazy in long modes like Survival. If he even defeats a character, you know, the ones you can collect, he will score an additional hit as well for the rest of the battle. At 4 hits, that's a 25% damage increase immediately. Haarken lives to bring the fight close up, and only has a melee attack. Against no armor, it is quite low, far below average, the same as Dante. But Tacticus, Dante and Haarken are good, aren't they? Yes. Against high armor, the high piercing pierce ratio will win the day for him. The truth, of course, lies somewhere in the middle. Let's see the active. Herald of the Apocalypse will deal 2 hits of piercing damage to an adjacent enemy, piercing through to the next enemy. All enemies hit will receive almost 2 Eltrons of extra damage for the next attack made against them. The attack also triggers battle fatigue for all enemies within 2 hexes of the original target. That's fun. You don't even have to kill, and for every enemy that flees, your damage will rise via the passive. Yes, defeat, not kill. Important difference. The active does deal a good amount of damage, a little over the usual damage Haarken would deal, especially impressive against higher armor enemies, bringing him to place 4. Don't forget, ideally you'll do this damage to 2 enemies instead of just 1. I also wanted to see how his next attack, should you do it with him, let's not forget he is a very effective buffer once a game, will deal after using his active. Even without armor, this is now already a really strong attack, but against high armor, he quickly skyrockets. Of course, you could also use this bonus damage for another character, maybe one that deals even more hits. It's a powerful buff, a shame it only works once per game. With his Let the Galaxy Burn trait and a little luck, 33% to be exact, each hex of an enemy hit by Haarken will add the spoiled ground to the enemy's hex, and add an extra hit for that attack. This is especially good on his active, as the fewer hits with higher damage each will profit more from this. Enemies on the spoiled hexes will automatically get hit by an extra hit from Haarken and his fellow Black Legion. The despoiled ground further deals 6 to 9% of the health as residual damage to fighters starting on it at the beginning of the turn. Any Chaos character on despoiled ground will also deal an additional 15% of damage to Xenos and Imperial characters. I mean, you can run into it and not suffer the damage for at least that turn and still profit from the buff. Nice, but sadly unreliable. Haarken is useful in his native campaign. You need to take him anyways, but his ability to make enemies flee makes him a useful ally. Especially as he's the fastest out of the required characters, and putting him into the face of a weapon team will weaken their offenses. As an ally in the Adeptus Sororitas campaign event, many players will have him, but they prefer Karn or Abaddon if I can get them, which doesn't mean he's bad. He can be a powerful buff character, especially for high hit characters, to do their damage missions for example. In guild raids, the 4 hits are just not enough to make him a slot in the multi-hit team, and his buff only works once per game and only buff 1 attack sadly. For missions, that's enough. For raids, certainly not. In Arena and Guild Wars, he would either need to deal astonishing damage or be tough enough to survive a round, but especially under sustained fire he'll crumple quickly. As a character that can't heal himself or summon, he's also not a prime candidate for long form modes. I still love him in survival, as collecting his kill buff slowly lets him deal impressive damage numbers at the end of the run, but that's rather a gimmick. Sometimes his active battle fatigue trigger is nice, but very random. Is he necessary in legendary events though? The 4 hits are nice, but otherwise there's nothing special for his attack characteristics. For trades and attack types he only fills a few slots, but all of them but flying are quite rare. Terrifying and piercing is decently rare, and we did have a Black Legion requirement before, so it's not out there that you might need him at some point. Well, Haarken might not be my favorite character ever, but I have a soft spot for him. There's something crazy of flying around with a spear and claw, preying on the weak. He is a proper villain, and to a certain extent you still need him for the Fall of Cadia campaign, where he takes center stage. I have his active build to 44, just because he's such a powerful help for Mythic missions, when the character has multiple hits and does desperately need more damage. How about you? Do you like him? Do you think he's stronger than I give him credit? Give me your opinion in the comments. Now, before I tell you about his fresh new relic, please subscribe to my channel to help me grow and face the ultimate villain, the YouTube algorithm. Liking and hyping are further steps that Prey gets power. We both know that 40k alone is a niche, and this is a niche in a niche, so I'm happy for each subscriber. Thanks for being here. And if you haven't used the referral code yet, use BAD60DO for 100 Blackstone for you and various in-game rewards for me. Thank you all for your support. A new relic, yes. The Helspear is exclusively in the Crusade shop starting this Crusade season. It will take a top 30% to 20% player roughly 4 to 5 weeks to get one with the currency you get. It's achievably and guaranteed, which is a nice change for a relic. What does it do other than just adding a crit chance and crit damage as a crit equipment? It makes Herald of the Apocalypse always at the spoiled ground. That's great already, as it shoots the damage of the active up by 50% immediately, not even thinking of the damage the enemy will suffer at the start of the next turn. Furthermore, in addition to the extra damage, the next attack against the target will now also ignore a big chunk of armor, helping low pierce characters out even more. Oh, and after the effect has been used, 8 defeats later he can use it again. Yes, sadly it is after, because otherwise a good hit with enough fleas could immediately retrigger it, which it sadly can't. Still, having the buff and multi-attack multiple times a battle makes this way better. Also, he's the only guaranteed despoiled ground setter other than waiting for Falk to eventually change his ammo. Now for the Mythic missions. Mission 1 is defeating 10 enemies with Haarken in one turn. Search for an open Fall of Cadia map with a few Vox casters and wait for Haarken to be surrounded. Killing one enemy can trigger a flee from up to 5 around him, which wouldn't be enough. Sadly, you will need to use his active, so this will require some trial and error. You need to use his active to kill the 2. There's 9 people around those who can flee, with an overkill that's 50% for the others to flee each. The second mission, at 9000 damage, needed to an enemy with Herald of the Apocalypse, is quite easy. Just be sure to not have any summons around that will soak up the buff. You can technically do this in Arena by finding a Snotflogger or Ravers, but really in guild raids this is quite trivial, if your Haarken can survive to the second hit. For the third mission, you are asked to overkill 100 enemies. I think the feat would have been nicer and played into the character better, but with Vox casters around that can be done as fast as with one battle, so I will go over as fast as you want it to. Scoring 10 hits for mission 4 is interesting again. I would use Trajan as my foremost helper, adding 2 hits to attacks next to him. Just send him next to 2 enemies, for example in Arena where you can combine them, and use the active. Now Haarken's active suddenly deals 2 times 4 instead 2 times 2 hits. If you get the Despoiled Crown, this is already done, but just having Thoriad in the vicinity will be easier and guarantee it. Quite easy to do. Defeating a bunch of characters prior to using the active can also help. This is easier. Lastly, dealing damage is never a problem. That it's twice the normal 100,000 damage here is mean, but you can do it, I believe in you. Thank you for also believing in me and watching this video until the end. I hope you enjoyed the video. You'll hear from me in the next one. Until then, have fun with the game and generally a great time.